Hello, and welcome to Let's Talk. Let's Talk is an audio voyage into issues that concern you. It's a beautiful day in the capital city, and each week we like to touch on a personal issue of the week. We like to talk about our pet peeves, what gets on your nerves, what makes you go screaming for the hills, what tests your Christianity. It's our mental health part of the program. You can click us at www.facebook.com/LDP News and tell us all about it. In addition, usually each week, we like to touch on a community issue, something that concerns you and your neighborhood. It may be civic, social justice, environmental, educational, or political. If it concerns you, give us a click. In the studio today, we have a special guest, recording artist Aaron Moses. His new project is called Manifestation. It's a gospel album in the holy hip-hop gospel rap genre. We'll meet him in just a moment. But I want to thank Sister Faith and Sister Catherine. They're both in the big ATL this weekend for the wedding of Lewis and Kelly. They did a great job of holding down the fort here at Let's Talk for St. Patrick's Day and for Election Day. As you know, Let's Talk is produced by Louisiana Democracy Project, a nonprofit social justice organization dedicated to the people and the long-term best interests of the community at large. Louisiana Democracy Project was established in 1998. The mission is to educate, advance, encourage, and increase citizen participation in the democratic process through active involvement in the community. We facilitate activities that will advance and protect the long-term interests of the community at large. Of course, membership is open to any individual who wants to join with others to make a difference. So don't be shy. Give us a click. You can find us on Live Video, Gawk, Delicious, Vivo, MySpace, Floral, YouTube, Mix, Tanga, Twitter, Ustream as Talk Issues, or you can click us at talkissues@gmail.com. And now I want to introduce you to Mr. Aaron Moses. Good morning.
Good morning, Miss Anthony. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you here this morning, and tell us a little bit about yourself. We know that you just came out with the album.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. Manifestation. Actually, before we get started, I just want to first of all thank God for giving me another opportunity to be here and to use this gift in a way that would bring all glory to Him. Again, I want to thank WPQT 94.9 for opening up the doors, the platform for artists such as myself to shine their light.
Well, it's a pleasure and it's an honor. Listen, let me find out a little bit about you. Are you from Baton Rouge?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I was born in Baton Rouge. I was raised between Gosnell, Louisiana, which is about 15 minutes from Highland Road, going east towards New Orleans and Baton Rouge. My original roots are in Gosnell, so kind of like a country boy, you could say, so to speak.
Yeah, I don't see it. Is Aaron Moses your stage name?
Aaron Moses is who I am. It is who I have been since August the 29th, 1985, before I left Hurricane Law. Yes, it's not a stage name. That's who I really am.
You were born in 1985.
Yes, ma'am.
I got shoes over. Well, listen, let me ask you this. You grew up in Geismar, which is kind of in my stomping ground. I lived for a while on Bayou Paul Lane.
St. Gabriel.
That's right.
Okay.
But I actually lived in Iberville.
Okay.
Which is down the road.
Right.
All right.
Absolutely.
And that's where my grandparents were from, and I just want to just throw in a little black history here. My great-grandmother gathered moss. Back then there was lots and lots of moss on the trees, and back then people used moss to stuff pillows and mattresses.
I never knew that.
And that was her industry. And she bought 44 acres of land, although she could not write her name. She signed for it with an ace.
Amen.
44 acres of land, which has been in my family ever since. My grandmother, moved away and came back, and once when I was about 12 years old, she showed me the property. She was living in Florida then, and she said the house that I was born in is back in those woods. And I was like, well, boy, it's still a house back there. But anyway, I digress. It really was a house. She built around it, sold the store in Tampa, and brought my grandfather down and continued to live there. And now we go occasionally for pecans, and I have a cousin that loves to hunt. And as you know, they paved the gravel road.
Yes, they have. We got a little bit of money.
Well, it's like little mini mansions out there now. Have you seen them?
Yeah, I have.
With
Actually,
the horses and all that great stuff. But your roots are really here in Baton Rouge.
Yes, ma'am. Here, all over the city of Baton Rouge. Actually, to be honest with you, Miss Anthony, I've been to so many middle schools and to so many different neighborhoods that it would literally take up the whole segment if I begin to name them all.
Really?
We did a lot of moving throughout my childhood. It was extremely rough. But by the grace of God, we made it. Amen.
Yes, amen. I got a chance to see a video of you. You're in school, huh?
Yes, ma'am. I am a entertainment technology student at Baton Rouge Community College. And in January this year, 2012, I was awarded the Student Spotlight of the Month award. So it was definitely a privilege. It was an honor just to know that even when you're not looking and when you don't think people are paying attention to you, they are. They are.
Now, what is entertainment technology? What is that? That's a new major. I'm not familiar with that. That sounds like something everybody would be trying to
well,
major
in
in.
modern day technology, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, my actual concentration is film. I'm an independent filmmaker.
Really?
And yes, ma'am, I am. And that's why I'm in school to do it, to perfect the gift. We have our own company, Hope Music and Hope Movies Entertainment. And I'm a preacher also. I'm a gospel preacher.
No joke.
And I want to be able.
And you were just born in '85. You doing all this?
Aaron Moses, I was called out of the womb. It
Hallelujah.
was divine providence. God called me from a child.
I see before.
I knew it. Before my mother's womb.
Yeah, golly.
Amen. And so I want to be able to preach the gospel via cinematography. My philosophy about it, as stated in that interview, I believe that there are more unsaved people that go to the theaters on Fridays than there are that come to the church on Sundays. And Christ said that he won't come back until the gospel is preached to the whole world. So we're trying to expedite this process with all due respect.
Now, we use a little technology on this show. So if people want to see that interview, how do they get a chance to see it?
You can go to youtube.com/mybrcctv, one word, and you will see me cheesing from ear to ear.
Oh, I'm going to look at it again. Now tell us about manifestation. That's a big word.
Yes, it is. Manifestation is a self-explanatory title.
You say that, but that's how is that self-explanatory for a album?
It has so much blood, sweat, and tears. It has so much time length. Actually, it took us over 3 years to get this project completed. Within that time span, I had a lot of people that were on the team to actually walk out and leave, and a lot of people felt as if the album wasn't producing as fast as they needed to. Neither here nor there, because it's not about everything that we went through. It's about how it actually manifested. And needless to say, God was faithful in spite of it all. And we built a studio. We rebuilt our whole staff. We brought in Miss LaMonica Solomon, which, by the way, she's the best manager in the world, if I might add. Absolutely.
All right.
And
that's a shout out.
yes. And my wife, she stayed by my side.
You have a wife?
Yes, ma'am. I'm married.
Oh,
6
my
years.
goodness. Wow.
6 years.
You got married right out of the womb.
Amen. Right out of the womb. I was called at a young age.
I understand.
You got to know what you want out of life.
That's right. Better to marry than a bird. I heard it all.
Amen. Amen.
All right.
Amen.
So you've been married 6 years.
6 years this year. 6 years
Okay.
this year.
Any
Yes, ma'am.
children?
I have one child. We have one son. We had a son, my wife and I. He passed away last year. He was born on March 10th, 2011, and he passed away on the 27th. He lived 17 days. He had a very rare chromosome deficiency disease called trisomy P9, and he was a miracle baby. Still is a miracle baby. Touched thousands of people's lives, not only here in Louisiana but across the nation. And as you can see, the shirt I have on, Alex Matthew Moses. We have a foundation that we started in his name, my wife and I, and it is entitled the Alex Matthew Foundation of Hope, where we want to educate families about this rare disease, because there's nothing that you can do to prevent it, and there's nothing that you can do to provoke it. You don't inherit it. It just happens. But in spite of all of that, even working on the album, I didn't think that the album was going to actually manifest. But I'm reminded of the scripture when it says in Philippians 1 and 6 that be confident in this thing, knowing that He, God, who began a good work in you, shall perform it until the day of Jesus Christ. And God doesn't start anything that He won't see to it that it manifests completely.
And the word manifest means to bring forth?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
See, I know a little bit. I'm so happy to hear that you have started a foundation in your son's name. Many times people get so bogged down in grief that they're not able to bring anything positive that will help others out of situations that are burdens. And so I applaud you.
Thank you.
And I remember my best friend from high school had such a situation. It was their first child. And I can remember she designed a little logo with a little light. She had a candle light for her husband, a candle light for herself, and a little light that was her son, who passed away after only a few days. And they had an interracial marriage, and she said that in just that small amount of time, that her little son brought together two families, two nations. And it put me in, as my grandmother would say, in the mind of that when you said that. So how can you find out more about the Alex Matthew Moses Foundation?
At this time, we have information posted on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Hope Music LLC. And we have a whole bunch of different websites and different things that are actually in the making. We just launched the actual foundation probably about 2 weeks as of now.
Well, you've got a lot going. You've done an album. And you've got a foundation, you've got a studio, and did you start off as a gospel artist?
No, ma'am, I did not. I was a secular artist, but gospel was always my original roots, because out of everybody that I was in the midst of, I always had the essence to get us to Christ before we did concerts, before we had studio sessions. So when I did initially stop running from God and humbled myself, it was no surprise to any of my camp at that time that, this is what I was going to do.
Yeah, you were called. You were called originally.
Originally.
And it wasn't until later that you realized.
No, actually, it's so.
Now don't tell me, you always know.
Always know.
Well, why didn't you do it in the beginning?
Always know. We learn as we get older.
Oh.
We learn as we get older. We learn as we get older. Trial and error, so to speak. And I just thank God that He didn't kill me when I was running from Him, because I would have went to a burning hell, because I wasn't saved running from Him. And we were at the pinnacle of that career, almost on the brink of getting a major deal. It's funny you mentioned that, because I was talking to a good friend of mine last night, and he asked me, did I think that we missed our moment? I say no. I say God completely sent me in another direction, because I was too valuable unto Him. So. Yeah,
you could have gotten out there, and your life, both here and for eternity, could have been destroyed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So now you've done this album, Manifestation. How many songs are on it?
Manifestation has 12 tracks on
I
it.
am very happy to hear that. You
12
know,
tracks.
for a while there, it seemed like people were doing 5-track albums. So,
Yeah,
what was
yeah.
up with that?
5
I
and
was
8
like,
and I have
yeah.
no idea, and mixtapes and all kind of different music, and I don't believe in giving throwing. I have a slogan that I say God doesn't put treasures in trash cans.
Hmm.
So whatever God puts inside of you is worth something, and you should treat it and deal with it and distribute it and give it to people to use in a positive manner because it is treasure.
Hmm.
Whether it is just sitting down having a mirror conversation with someone, always appreciate it being royalty.
Now, the first cut. See, I'm trying to use the lingo. The first track,
Right.
the first song is called Welcome.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me about it.
Welcome is a very short snippet into what you can expect from the manifestation. It kind of highlight the whole concept behind manifestation. You get into it and you can kind of walk with me over that. Let's say maybe you get 5 years of my lifespan within 3 minutes and 28 seconds or so. And actually, I recorded that song Welcome in 2007, and so now here we are 4 years later, and it's still relevant to now.
So you have it. It says, tell us a little bit about what it says. We're going to sample a little of it.
It starts off, welcome to the life of the young black male. I'm telling you the truth. I ain't telling you no tale. Hey, we made something out of nothing. Hey, we made something out of nothing. Welcome to the hood where the struggle is intense. Stood my ground like a man. I didn't run and hit the fence. No, we made something out of nothing. And the reason it is because most of the times, and when you talk about the community where we live at now and why most communities and a lot of black urban communities here in Baton Rouge are failing is because we don't have enough leaders. We don't have enough people that have that tenacity, such as your grandmother did, to say, hey, I may not be able to spell my name, but I believe that if I do what I need to do, maybe one day my grandchildren will be able to inherit these 40 acres. Well, here nowadays, we don't have enough community leaders saying, hey, look, I didn't graduate high school, but maybe if I go back and get my GED, maybe this encourage another child. Maybe I can't get a job at some Fortune 500 company, but the McDonald's right down the street is hiring. So when I speak of,
or I can pick up the pecans of a
absolutely,
and turn it into something
right,
that people need and want.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so we run too much from too many issues, and we don't deal with them until we're forced to deal with them because they've spewed over and they've actually taken over our existence.
I want to ask you about your background. I mean, you said that you used to do secular music, but were you lifestyle? How was that?
I was always a good person.
That's what they all say.
I've always been, and this is the thing. Anybody who can watch this interview or listen to this, they will call in and testify to the truth. I've always been per se an outsider to most of the environments that I found myself in because I've always been pure at heart. I've always had a soft side. I'm raised in a home with 3 women, my mother and my 2 older sisters. So I've always had that feminine
input in your life?
Yes, as to sensitivity from a sensitive perspective.
It makes a difference.
Yes, it actually does. You don't wind up becoming a heartless individual when you grow up.
Most people don't think that. They think that, well, guys sometimes think that that touch of kindness is a show of weakness.
Right.
And so they feel like they have to be mean to women.
More masculine.
Degrade them. Yeah.
And that's not cool.
No. When I was a girl, all boys were taught, you don't hit a girl. Although I had one that used to beat me up every day. But his dad used to beat up his mom.
Right.
So he thought that years later, the other boys said, he really liked you. I was like, what?
He sure had an odd way of showing it, right?
He'll never get next to me.
Sure had an odd way of showing it.
Got to run every day. But anyway, I digress.
Right.
So you weren't beating up girls, but what were you doing?
Absolutely not. I was living for the day and not looking forward to tomorrow. But I always knew that one day, as a child, I always knew that there was something more in life other than hooking up illegal lights and trying to take the meat out before the meter man came. Stealing out of Circle K, just literally trying to eat and skip to school and all of those bad things. I grew up without a father. My mother was my father. And, thank God.
And you were poor, huh?
I wasn't dirt poor. I thought I was poor, but I see how other countries are living.
Yeah.
So actually, I would be fibbing if I said that I was actually poor, but very...
For your circle.
Yeah. Definitely extenuated circumstances. We didn't come up with much at all. But we knew that we had Christ.
Yeah.
We didn't know how to get to him, but we didn't know how to get to him.
You knew he was there.
I knew he was there, and I knew it had to be something more to my life. And more importantly, I knew that if I didn't give my life to God, I came to a point in my life where I knew that if I didn't give my life totally to God, I was going to die a premature death. That I couldn't do because I knew I had something in me I had a gift that the world needed.
How did you get saved?
I don't even know. I have no idea. When people ask me that, I can't tell you. I say that I've always been saved. Christ has always been in my heart ever since I was a child.
When did it manifest?
When did it manifest? It manifested about 6 years ago.
Really?
Yes. After it manifested about 6 years ago, my wife and I had been dating roughly 2 to 3 years, and I had been going to their church. And my pastor now, Pastor Bishop Warren David Richard, he called me one day and he was like, look, it's on you. And I already knew what he was talking about. He was like, it's on you. And I've never seen it on nobody like this before, the calling that you had on you. And God had been pricking at my heart. And actually, it's funny how I wound up accepting my calling. God, he allowed me to stand up in front of the church and accept my calling. And that Tuesday, I was wrestling with it. I had been wrestling with it from that Sunday. Lord, I know I want to be a preacher. I told you I wanted to do that. But I don't know, should it come when I'm right in my later 30s, my early 40s, But right now, God, I'm like 20-something. I need to live. I'm not sure if I'm ready. My wife began to have a series of migraine, headaches, dizzy spells. She was falling out. I was coming home from work one day. It was a Tuesday, and I was praying, and I was crying, and I was in tears. The Tuesday is our Bible study night, so I'm really, wrestling with, okay, I'm going in there tonight, and I'm going to stand up, and I'm going to tell these people, look, y'all, I'm sorry. I know I'm called, but I think I stood up a little bit too early. And I was like, and you hearing that, you can't take your hand away from the gospel plow because any man that do, he's not fit for the kingdom of heaven. So I'm like, Lord, I want to preach. I don't know, am I called to preach now? And if I don't preach, then I'm going to go to hell. God, you can't be that cruel, so you got to do something for me. So I get a phone call. I'm praying, I'm crying. I got snot everywhere, tears everywhere. I'm soaking wet. I say, Lord, I need to hear something from you immediately. I get a phone call from my wife's supervisor, and she tells me that my wife has passed out at work, busted all her arms and her knees up. And immediately I say, God, I hear you. I hear you speaking to me clearly. And ever since that day, she has never had another dizzy spell, not for that moment, not for that particular situation. And what God was doing was he was saying, look, I'm a jealous God. You should have no other God before me. And whatever you put before me, I'll make sure that I take it from you to make sure that I am your God. And thank God that I understood that, and here we are, some 4 years later. To God be the glory.
Well, look, earlier you said that you guys moved around a lot.
Yes, ma'am.
Did that affect you in any way?
It did. It did because I never had the opportunity to really get stable. You build up camaraderie with friends, and you build up emotions, and you build up rapport. And then before you know it, they're gone. And it's like, we're on to the next neighborhood. We're on to the next school. And in fact, what it did to me was I'm not able to remember a lot of my childhood friends because I've had so many. And so I see people nowadays, hey, Aaron Moses, how you doing?
They remember you.
They remember me. I don't remember them. I asked a guy a year ago at the college. He was like, hey, aren't you Aaron Moses? I was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, I remember you from school. I was like, wait a minute, I didn't do you nothing wrong, did I? Because, I met so many people along the way.
Do you have any advice for, kids that have to move a lot? I know that happens.
Yes.
And nowadays it's happening even more.
Yeah, it is. It is, especially with the economy being bad, foreclosures at an all-time high, and poor people, we never had to worry about foreclosure. We always lived in Section 8 houses or duplex or apartments. But I would tell any child, I would tell anybody, right now, wherever you are in your life, it's the most important time, it's the most important place, because your tomorrow starts today. Study like you've never studied before. Sacrifice like you've never sacrificed before. Make sure that your child don't have to go through the things that you're going through, and you have to do that. And more importantly, God is going to provide for you. God loves you, regardless of what your circumstances say, regardless of what the situation says. God says He'll never leave you nor forsake you. The only reason why you hear my voice now is because God proved to be true. The scripture says, let God be true and let every man be a lie. And God manifested His word, and here I am. I'm still alive. I'm still well through everything that I had to come through. And if He did it for me, and the scripture says that God, Jesus Christ, is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. God can't change, and you're going to make it, and you're going to look good while you're making it too.
I have you probably don't realize this, but we talk about suicide a lot on this show. We try to let people know that that's not the answer. That's the trick of the enemy.
Absolutely.
And not long ago, there's a young lady in Port Allen from a high school there that decided that she was going to hang herself. She had moved from a bigger town, Big Sky territory. Her mother had passed away with cancer. She was living with her grandmother. Her classmates were very mean to her. She found one place of refuge, and that was the local community center. But she was being bullied, and she just felt like there was nowhere to go. And she apparently hung herself midday, but no one realized it until when her grandmother came home from work, and she still wasn't home, and she, was retracing the girl's steps. She called another relative, and he drove over to the school and saw the police there. This has been a troubling thing for me, because apparently she's very talented artistically, and I know how it is sometimes when people, I don't want to say they're jealous, but they try to make one who's very talented feel like something's wrong with them.
Right.
And I wonder if you might speak to that.
Yes. The first thing, Ms. Anthony, and I definitely sympathize with that family, with that community, and also with you. And I'm the first one to say that it has been times in my life, because of the circumstances that I've come through, being used by the enemy, I've actually considered suicide. And the first thing that we as children of God must do is we must place value on ourselves. We must esteem ourselves. And the first thing about self-esteem and self-value says, it doesn't matter what I mean to you, I mean the word to myself. And I mean everything to God, because He died for me. And we have to encourage ourselves, and we have to be happy and find those different outlets. It's no better place in the world. You look at cheerleader squads, you look at football squads. It's crazy when I say this, but I have 5 years experience working in the prison. So many people come back to prison over and over again, and I'm finally understanding lies because they're actually a part of something. People want to be a part of something. People need to be a part of something. And this is the reason why we need more community centers. We need more outlets for children to be a part of things. It's easy to discourage a family or a child, because nowadays we have to pay for everything. And when you feel like, okay, well, you can't pay, so we can't let you in. They are government grants that they have out there. We just have to get the information and get these resources into these communities, because this young lady probably only needed somebody to talk to her and feel appreciated. People need to be appreciated, and especially with your gift. Don't let somebody misuse or prostitute your gift. It is your gift. God gave it to you for you to use to Him. As I'm reminded when I said about the scripture, God said He won't start nothing that He won't complete. If God gave you the gift, God has an obligation to use it and to let that light shine for His glory, and there's nothing that He won't do for His glory. So we have to place a higher self-value on ourselves, And to all the parents, you must always encourage your children because you never really know what's going on the inside of somebody's mind. You never know what's going on. Most of the time when we see people, Bishop T.D. Jakes said, you're meeting somebody's representative. This is the person that I want you to meet. There's always another side of that person that you don't see, the midnight hour person who's always crying, the person who gets up early in the morning trying to figure out, am I going to have enough money to pay my bills? The person that has a pain in their chest and they wondering, could this be cancerous because it's hereditary in my family? You know, and so we always need to have a more insight, understanding, and in-depth with a person.
Wow. I didn't know we were going to go on that that area, but I think that it's probably very important. And I'm thanking you for sharing that. I do want to ask you a few other questions about your album. If, for example, a person could only hear the Reese song, what would you have them to hear?
The first song I would have them to listen to is Carry On, which is number 4. Carry On. Carry On is the story. You have to carry on. You have to give yourself to God. You have to go through it. You have to be tenacious. You have to say, for God I live, for God I die. Come what may. If I wake up tomorrow morning and I have eyesight, I'll look to see the glory of God. If I wake up tomorrow morning and I have legs, I'll run for Jesus and I won't get tired. The second song that I would say would be We're Gonna Make It. It's actually titled We Gonna Make It.
We Gonna Make It.
We Gonna Make It.
All right.
We Gonna Make It is so important. That's the song that song those children need to hear. Those children that's moving from neighborhood to neighborhood, from school to school. They need to hear that. They need to have that one inside their heart. We gonna make it. We gonna make it. And the last song I would say is number 8, one of my favorites. It is entitled My Side. It's a song that I dedicated it to my wife, and to my sisters, and to all of my aunties and special ladies in my life. And the reason why is because behind every man, there's a good woman.
Oh, yes.
And we need more men in every community. So we need more women to back up those men and to build those men up.
And that's S-I-D-E?
Yes, ma'am. S-I-D-E.
Like by my side?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, all right. Tell us a few words on that.
The first verse starts off, it says, I'm so hands and knees emotional for all the stupid things I did. You always stayed by my side. All the stupid things I did.
Wow. That's enough.
That's
right
enough.
there.
That's enough. That's enough. That's enough. You stayed with me. You didn't run out on me. You didn't run out on me. You stayed with me.
Yeah. That says a lot. And, time passes so quickly.
Absolutely.
Are there 2 things that you want to let my listeners know?
Yes. The first thing I want to let your listeners know is the conditions of the world that we're living in, they're only going to get worse until God comes back. Jesus is coming back. He's coming back so soon. If you're not saved, please get saved. The scripture says, Romans 10:9-10, if you confess it with your mouth and believe it in your heart, Jesus Christ, the Son of God, He raised him from the dead, you shall be saved. You don't have to be in a theological seminary school. You don't have to be at the most profound church. You can receive Christ Jesus right now where you are listening to this message, listening to this radio broadcast. And the second thing is live and love. Life is for those who are living. We cannot worry about the dead. All you can do is live. If you have breath in your body at this point, live. If you have dreams, if you have goals, do not stop. Keep working. Keep believing. Keep sacrificing. Keep fasting. Keep tithing. And do not stop until it manifests.
I thank you so much for joining us on Let's Talk. I look forward to you coming back.
Absolutely. Thank you much, man. We have a lot of projects. Soon and very soon, hopefully, we'll be traveling out of the country by the grace of God. And as soon as we get more time, we'll be back here doing everything that we need to do. The manifestation is going to be in stores May 1st, 2012.
Oh, super. Now, you're not fooling us, huh?
Not fooling.
What made you pick April 1st?
I'm sorry, May 1st.
Oh, May 1st.
May 1st.
I'm
May
thinking,
1st.
you know
May
what?
1st.
I'm thinking April 1st because
April Fool.
Yeah.
And it's right
And
around the corner.
yeah, and my church will celebrate its 100th anniversary on April
On April 1st.
Yeah,
So
for
that's
Little
kind of
Rising.
already in your
So,
mind.
yeah, but on May 1st, we can get to the stores and be able to.
Yes, ma'am. You can get it, and we'll be all around the city. We got a lot of projects that are coming up. We're everywhere. You should be with us. Team Hope Music. We're out in the place with all of the churches. We at shelters. We at everywhere. Everywhere.
Well,
We schools.
I want to invite you to come to Community Kids Outreach the 5th Sunday.
Okay, which is April the 29th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
Okay,
correct.
absolutely.
Over at 1265, no, 1275 South 16th Street.
Okay.
It's Little Rising Sun Baptist Church. We want to get a wonderful outdoor arena
Okay.
that, since you're a minister, you could actually bless for us.
Yes, yes. Thank God. Thank
Okay.
God. Thank God.
And we want to take the community now.
Yeah.
You didn't really realize what gospel, hip hop, gospel, rap person I am. I love it.
Yeah.
I believe that it really speaks to the issues that we face. I love the beat takes me back. The beats take me back to African beats.
Right.
I have my own June and djembe, so I believe that it speaks to my culture.
Right.
I love the poetry,
Mhm.
and I thank you for being a part of that community.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Please
ma'am.
share with us. You say you everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere. We
Come
everywhere.
on to Fruit Town.
We everywhere. We'll be here.
All right.
South Baton Rouge, look out. Here we come.
Thanks.
April the 29th, Aaron Moses. And we're going to bring the Lord with us. And we're going to have a hallelujah good time. Amen.
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 You're listening to Let's Talk. I'm your host, Stephanie Anthony. We thank you so much for joining us for this edition, and we'll look forward to having you again next Saturday.
Amen.